sometimes you think you want to do something, and then you very later on realize that it was not a good choice. So
True.
I come from a humble family, really humble family. So I was always excited about making money, just hustling my way through in life.
Yeah.
So I am very driven by kind of transforming, the life in a certain way. You can't transform everything, but you pick a field and you find a way to transform that ecosystem once and for all. And I think that's a life worth living. And I think we talk about it in all the hard times that we go through at Cradle. I always advise people is that when you're getting into something, no matter if it's a startup or even your job, you need to just go all into one thing and become the very best in that one thing, rather than trying to do 5 things at the same time, because then you just basically stay mediocre at 5 things.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and tonight we have a very interesting show lined up because you're going to be having a conversation with an entrepreneur who's literally traversed different continents, set up different businesses, and actually succeeded on both particular businesses. And we're going to find out how his journey has been. But before I get to introduce my guest, I'd like to let you know that we're here at the Capital Club, the place that you need to be as an entrepreneur. A key thing as an entrepreneur is your network, right? And you always say your network is your net worth. And through the Capital Club, you can actually get to access so many different amenities and facilities all around the globe. Are you in Dubai, in New York, whatever it is, you can actually get to access it through the Capital Club. The guest I'm speaking about is Manish Sadana. I actually have tried to get that particular name right. He's the co-founder and CEO of Cradle Africa, and also has previously served as an MD of Squad Digital, and also set up different particular startups and exited at some. And you're going to find out how his journey has been. Manish, thanks so much, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me in.
Nice to see you. The first question I like starting through all my conversations is, what exactly are you most grateful for today?
Grateful?
Yes.
For my family. I think being an entrepreneur can be an extremely tough journey. You go through periods of mental turmoil. There are periods you question yourself as to why you're doing this, the amount of sacrifices you have to make in your personal life. And if you don't get your family to stand right behind you in all those difficult times, it is almost impossible to be successful as an entrepreneur. So extremely grateful for my family to sort of back me, support me all throughout.
Interesting. And you also mentioned your family is now around with you for this.
Yeah, my parents are right now in Kenya. They come everywhere. This is the festive time in India. It's the festival of Diwali. So a lot of festivities around October, November. So we have them here every year so that we can celebrate all these festivals with them.
Interesting. And maybe just take me back, because I like just to recount your journey, how exactly it has been to where you are right now. You told me you grew up in India. How exactly was it growing up in India? How was your experience? Because the only experience I have with India is through the movie 3 Idiots. I was telling you. That's my only notion of India. I need to travel there. How was it growing in India?
Yeah, I think it's a very tough place to be, right? I mean, I was just, we were just having this conversation before this interview that, my cousin, her daughter, secured 97.5% in her year 12 exams, and she posted it in the family group. And then there was utter silence in the group, and then someone just randomly posted saying, "Oh my God, what is your daughter going to do now?"
That's 97.5.
That's 97.5%.
In Kenya, when you get that, you're supposed to, it's an A, you'll be on the paper.
Yeah. And then there was like this glum conversations in the group, and like, "Oh, poor thing." And I didn't understand that because it was not as hard, in my days. Yeah. But the fact remains that, for you to get into a university in India right now, like a good university, you are competing between the range of 99.6 and 99.8 percentage points.
99.6 and 99.6.
And in that range, you have millions of students competing for university seats at that. So in the mother's head and in the daughter's head, like they're done, they probably go to a tier 2 university, which is not something. And imagine the pressure on the child's mind.
It's crazy. It's 97.
I've worked so hard this entire year to get here, and I'm not getting anywhere with this. So yeah, so this is just an example to kind of show like how tough the environment is in India. I mean, you're talking about 1 billion plus people competing for university seats, competing for jobs. So it's kind of a place that really toughens you up. And we didn't realize this growing up, right? We didn't know that you were in a tough environment. It's only when you come here you realize, oh my God, that environment was really, really tough. So yeah. So,
I'm tempted to ask, what did you get? 99 for what? 0.9?
So no. So you know what has happened is that you know in our days, the gradings, you know, our exams papers were subjective, not multiple choice. Now they have moved to multiple choice, so it's much easier to kind of get to 95, 96 plus. We had subjective long answers, you know, in which you know you couldn't. So I secured 86.25 percentage, which was. I was among the best, you know, in
so
in
6
the
point
class.
out of 7.
86.25 percentage out of 100. Yeah,
interesting.
and I got to the university I really wanted to get into, so I was lucky with that. So yeah, so but it was not easy. Let's just say it was not easy.
Interesting, because you guys always have to cram and know. You have to always prepare for.
And that's
exams.
also the problem I think with the education system is that there is just tremendous amount of cramming and rote learning. I remember I was in a panel discussion recently in Kenya in one of our partner schools called Nairobi Academy. And then the moderator asked me, so how do you think the education in high schools impacts people's future careers? And I said, doesn't. Because the entire education system, I mean, most of the education systems are still based on rote learning.
Yeah.
I tell them like 90% plus of whatever I have studied in high school, I do not remember at all because I was just memorizing. I studied a language called Sanskrit, which is the most ancient language in the world, and studied that language for 2 years. I can't speak a word of that language. So I think there's a fundamental problem with the education system because it doesn't really prepare you for your future at all.
Interesting. And speaking about that, when you're going through that particular rigid system that you went through, that is in India, and such a competitive environment that India is, what did you have any aspirations of what you wanted to be, or you're just going through it just to compete to be the best and then figure it out?
No, absolutely, you're right. I mean, you just compete to be the best and then you figure it out. I mean, I remember a time when I got my degree in my economics, and I was a fairly bright student, so I did well. I taught my university, and I went to my parents saying, you know, you wanted me to get this degree, and I got this degree. Now what do I do? It's like, do your masters now. You do your masters. What do you do?
So after
your PhD.
After degree, you just
you
do your
just
masters.
because you don't know what to do with a degree. You have a degree in your hand, and you just don't know what to do with it. So you just figure it out as you go along in life. And I think that's one of the big challenges that we see is that the linkage between education and careers is extremely poor, not just in India, not just in Africa, but across the world. And this is one of the problems we're trying to solve for, is to kind of connect education with careers. And then rather than thinking about, so if you look at the education system, right, the way it has worked, let's talk about the KCSE system, right? In around Form 1, Form 2, you choose your subjects.
True.
Now, how do you choose your subjects? What is the basis? Like, what subject should I pursue? There's no idea. I mean, depends on your grades, depending upon, you know, societal biases, parental biases, if you're in Alliance, and, you know, in Mangu, I mean, the focus is very much on engineering and medicine. So you choose subjects randomly, right? Then those subjects decide what kind of courses you can apply to in universities. And then you get out of the university and you say, now I have a degree, I know what to do, and then you figure it out, right? What we are trying to change is we are trying to invert the entire process. We have what we call a psychometric assessment in high schools, which is being currently done across hundreds plus schools in this Kenya, and we have 20,000 plus students who registered for this assessment. So you do the assessment, it helps you understand who you are as a person. It helps you understand your personality, your career motivators, your aptitudes, and also your value system. And now we use that information to figure out the ideal career path for you. And then you work backwards to say, for me to get to that career path, what are the kind of subjects I need to choose today? And what kind of courses I need to apply for the university? And that's how we are thinking of, you know, changing the entire paradigm of how education system, you know, leads to career choices in the future. So we are starting these conversations around career choices much earlier in the school life than it has ever been in the past.
Interesting. And speaking about that, because I wanted to come to that later, but since you're here in terms of the space where what Cradle is actually getting to do, how does, what's it called, the psychometric test, what's it
called? It's the assessment.
It's the assessment. So used to be a test
and people think pass and fail.
All right, so the assessment, how is it able to determine a career path of an individual? How is it able to show, if I do this particular assessment, how is it able now to exactly just help me know the career path I'm supposed to take? What does it look into?
So as I said earlier, there are 4 things that we look into. We look at your personality types. So there are certain personality types that are more suited to certain careers. Like, I am guessing that you will probably be a very bad accountant.
Actually, I
You
studied
know?
accounting. That's what
Oh, come on.
for real. I did Bachelor of
Yes.
Commerce and I did a CCA, but
You
in
know-
between my undergrad, I realized me I like talking. I can't do this. thing.
Exactly.
I wanted
right?
to be like my father, just like you.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah,
realized it's not my thing.
You know, 80%, Ian, 80% students
Yeah.
Eventually end up in careers which have nothing to do with what they've studied in high school.
True.
Nothing, or even in the universities. So you're not the only one. So I mean, coming back to the point is that there's certain personality types that are suited to certain kind of careers. Like your personality type will suit yourself in journalism, marketing, sales, maybe, but you'll probably be really getting bored to death in the world of accounting, right?
Yeah, all of
So we look at personality types, and we have like the psychometric assessment is about 180 questions. It's completely online. It's multiple choice. It's very simple and fun to do. We also look at aptitudes because aptitudes play a very important role in figuring out what kind of careers are you best fit for. For certain careers, for example, you need a strong numerical aptitude. There's certain careers where you need a strong spatial. So spatial aptitude is your ability to visualize things in 3 dimensions. So if you don't have a strong spatial aptitude, you'll not do a very good job as an architect, for example. So we look at aptitudes. Then we look at your interest, your value system. And then we look at what kind of careers motivate you, excite you, or you're passionate about. So we look at multiple things and we ask series of questions that help us determine where you are across all of these 4 parameters. And then we use that. Now the system then eventually kind of uses intelligence to kind of say, if these are the kind of answers you're given, this is your personality type, these are the kind of your career motivators, and it uses that now to gives you recommendations on your ideal career paths.
Interesting. And does it also look in terms of gifts? Because primarily I believe when you're looking at it in terms of my personality and all this, but maybe I may be gifted singer, and primarily that can be a pathway you can actually look into it. Does
We
it
have
also look
seen
into
that
that? Yeah.
typically talents do show up in
Yeah.
career motivators. So if you are, let's say, gifted singer,
Yeah.
then you will typically answer questions around, do you like performing on stage? Do you have a keen interest in music? So we have questions like this that assess, and typically talents get factored into questions like those.
Interesting. And what exactly informed you setting up Cradle? Is it because you came up from an environment whereby you're always being pumped up to succeed in education, and then you saw what exactly informed Cradle?
Yeah, so I think just kind of going back a few years, I talked about my studies in education. I studied economics because I came from a family of economists. My sister went to the US to do her PhD in economics. I came from like a family of uncles who are all economists. So growing up in your home, your dinner conversations, your dinner table conversations, well, just economics. I also had a class teacher who was also an economics teacher, who I also was really fond
So
of.
economics
And she
was a
was really
family
fond of
thing.
me. It was a family thing. Plus, I had a teacher who was very fond of me. I was very fond of her. She, gave me a very good impression, and I thought I wanted to be in economics. Sometimes you think you want to do something, and then you very later on realize that it was not a good choice. So,
True.
So I think when it comes to higher education, there's a lot of parental bias and there's a lot of societal bias that informs. And economics is a very respected course. And so I did my economics, and then as I told you earlier, then I went to my parents saying, "What do I do with my degree? That's go do your postgraduate." So I think that was also the time when it was the year 2000. So year 2000, if you remember, was also the time the internet boom was happening.
Yes, the .com.
The .com boom was happening across the world. Amazon was becoming bigger. A guy called Sabir Bhatia sold Hotmail, to Microsoft for $400 million. And I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I think even when I was growing up, I had deep passion for entrepreneurship. So every single summer break in school, I would pick up a new business and I would run a business and I would try and make some money. I come from a humble family, really humble family. So I was always excited about, making money, just hustling my way through in life.
Yeah.
And then I was like, then I dropped out of my college. I was very clear I want to be an entrepreneur. And then eventually I found my way into a tech startup ecosystem, and I eventually, got success. Success not just in terms of, financial success or succeeding as a businessman or as an entrepreneur, but also, success from within, because I was feeling really happy.
And
I would look
fulfilled,
forward every day to go to work, and we were transforming the world and we were excited about it. So fast forward a few years, I have a daughter, she's 7 years old. I did not learn coding, but even though I'm in a tech startup field, I don't know how to code. And sometimes they say that fathers like to live their unfulfilled dreams to their kids.
I've heard that so many times, yes.
So I put my daughter into the coding program. I said, if you need to have a good future, you need to learn coding. Okay. So a 7-year-old I put her in a very tough coding
In
program.
India, you start everything so early.
So early. There's
you
no time to
gotta
waste.
learn code.
There's no time to waste.
There's a billion people competing with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So she went through the program. In India, you just have to obey your parents. Whatever they told you have to do it.
Yeah.
So a few months down the line, I check in with her and she's like, look, I'm doing it because you asked me to do it, Papa, but I don't want to do this. I said, what do you want to do? And she opened a drawer in from her cupboard and then she took out some dolls and she said, look, I stitch clothes for these dolls. And she made amazing clothes for these dolls. So she has an amazing sense of fashion.
At 7.
She says, I want to be a fashion designer. That's what I want to do. And that was like this moment that I think everything kind of clicked for me. And I thought to myself that I am doing to my child what was done to me when I was growing up.
True.
Yeah, parental biases, societal bias. In my mind, fashion design is a hobby. It's not a career. And this is me, extremely well educated, well traveled across the world.
Yes.
And this is my own daughter. I don't know her.
Yeah.
So when we kind of like when I left my job at when I resigned from my position from Scan Group and Squad Digital, I was thinking about what to do. So I think like this was a very big inflection moment in my life, and I said, okay, how do people make choices? Even like I didn't know how to make choice. I don't even know how to tell my own child how to help her make the best choices for her. And when we looked around, we saw this, right? We saw that 40% students, just like me, are dropping out of universities in the first year. 80% students are ending up in careers which have nothing to do with what they've studied. It's like this has got to change. And look at from an Africa perspective, every year $30 billion is spent on higher education. And to think of that, 80% of that, which is $24 billion, is spent in education, which will have eventually no bearing on your future career.
True.
That's a complete waste of money. And parents really spend that money for university education. It's not easy, it's expensive. So it's like something needs to change. So that's when kind of the initial genesis of the Cradle idea came into play.
Interesting. And how did you go about now setting it up and making it more from just being an idea out of your experience with your daughter to now making it, what's it called, a business?
Yeah, so I think like the good news was that I was close to education in the past. Like I had worked in an education technology startup in India. I'm also the youngest published author of an economics textbook in India. So I've been close to education, I've been close to students in my past. So I think it was clear to me that education, and transformation in education space, I think was something which was very, very close to my heart. And I had a sufficient technology background. I had built a successful career in Kenya and in Sub-Saharan Africa. So first step was the hardest step, which is to resign from your job. Now you have a job where you're MD of the largest digital marketing agency in Sub-Saharan Africa. You're part of the largest global advertising group in the world. And you have a really, really comfortable job. You have a really plush job. The salary is fat. Everything is fine. You have a great lifestyle. Now to give all of them up when you have a wife and you have 2 kids is not the easiest thing.
And the parents behind your back.
And the parents behind
You
your
did not
back.
do economics.
Yeah. So it was I think one of the hardest moments in my life, and I think I was not being able to be decisive because also this was not India, right? It was still another country, even though I spent a lot of time. I've never set up a business here. I'd worked in a comfortable environment. So I actually found a coach, and that coach kind of like helped me through this process over the 3 to 4 months period for me to actually decide that I want to quit. And then I resigned, and my resignation was not easy, of course. My notice period was 6 months, but eventually I got to leave. So one of the people I co-founded Cradle was a guy called John Guru. So John Guru is currently my co-founder and our CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. So John and I had built wonderful products, back in the days in Squad Digital. So he was the first person I asked. So I said, John, I'm leaving. Are you with me? He said yes.
Wow.
It was an instant yes.
So John had not planned to resign, you made him resign.
Huh?
John had not planned to resign, you made him resign.
I think like John and me kind of became very close to each other in our time in Squad. Like one of the guys I was closest to, like great chemistry. We had the same view of the world. And it was also always clear to us that, after Squad, whatever we're going to do, we're going to do together. So it was a no-brainer for him. It's a no-brainer for him, for me as well. So anyway, so we left. I left first and then he left later. Initially it was just a plan on a piece of paper. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was a new business environment for me, and I've never done education tech in Africa. I didn't understand the market here. So it's just a series of steps, and I think very interesting thing happened that one of the guys, Shane Premji, who's also one of my co-founders and our CFO, he moved into my apartment building during the COVID time. And also, to make matters worse.
It was during COVID.
Yeah.
So you resigned during COVID?
Yeah, when people were trying to kind of hold on to their jobs.
Yeah, so you resigned during COVID because you had a plan on paper.
The economy was down, with a plan on paper. Yeah, just a plan on paper, just one sheet of paper, and everything was on a sketch with a pen. And then he moved into my apartment building and during COVID times, and then we started talking. He had background in investing world, so he was an investment banker. Then he was working for IFC, which is part of World Bank, and then he was in private equity finance. So he had a lot of background from a finance and investments perspective. So I was just kind of like telling him my idea, and I'm saying that what should I do? What should I do?
Yeah.
How should I raise the funding?
Yeah.
And then he got really excited about Cradle. It's like, I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to join you. And that was exciting, right? Because
now
we
you became the three idiots. I just wanted to break that. So the three idiots together.
Yes, became the three idiots. Yeah. I think you're right. Actually, in those moments, all of us, really high-paying, comfortable jobs, leave those jobs in the middle of the COVID.
Yeah.
You could easily classify us as the
three idiots. Interesting.
So Shane joined me, and that when you have kind of like partners around you, and I'm blessed to have extremely high integrity, extremely intelligent, extremely hardworking co-founders, and then I think it just gave me a greater sense of confidence and purpose as well. So I basically took off all my life savings and put it behind this business. We had a team of, we started in the Limac building on Vayaki Way with 2 desks, just John and myself, and then we got to 5 desks, and today we are about 100 people across 5 offices. And then I think one thing led to another, and then you learn and you learn and you learn. And we are very quick learners. We learn very fast. We made a lot of mistakes. Sometimes some of the things that we did in the initial stages, like what we were thinking at that time.
All right, so we're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to come. So welcome back to the show. Before we went on a break, Manish was just taking us through this particular journey of Cradle, how exactly to metamorphosize from her observation of her daughter, who Manish was forcing her to be a coder, and she didn't want to, and then forced you to come into setting up Cradle. And primarily just mentioning to us before we went on a break, the journey whereby the 3 idiots now came together.
Yeah.
Maybe just in brief, how now did you guys were able to maneuver from the idea stage now to making it a business?
I think so. So one thing that we were clear was that we're trying to do a couple of things, right? We saw the way students today search, get matched and apply to universities was fundamentally flawed. It was riddled with biases. It was completely analog. There was nothing digital. So our super strength was always technology. We understand how to build products online. So our first step was to just build an online platform. And on our platform, students can today come and search more than 500 universities across 35 countries and apply to universities seamlessly online. So the first thing was obviously to get the platform in. And then the second step was that before you even get students, you need to get universities. And we go to universities saying, we want you on our platform. So our students can apply from Africa to your university. And the first question they will ask you is, how many universities do you work with? They wanted references. We were like 0. So I think like there's always a zero start problem, which is the most difficult, where you need to really convince them and show them the vision of what you're trying to build. And then we started signing up universities, we started promoting the platform in Kenya, and now we are getting into high schools. We are in more than 150 high schools. Some of the best high schools in this country today use our platform, where students use our platform to do the psychometric assessment and then apply to universities across the world.
Interesting. And what's the business model? Do the students pay? Do the universities pay?
Yeah, we charge a small fee from the student for all the assistance that we offer them. But our primary model is the universities pay us a commission.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and before even Cradle, you'd also set up a startup in India that you managed to exit. Maybe you can just take us through that particular journey of setting up a startup to the point of now exit, because that's every particular entrepreneur's dream. You've been able to do that. How are you able to do that?
Yes, luck by chance is what you call it in India. But I was in advertising, and then a couple of my friends, they had sold their company to Microsoft in the US, and they had just moved from US to India.
Which
and
company
they were
was that?
starting, it was called Vriti, Vriti, and they were starting a tech startup. And I was always looking for this opportunity to get into a tech startup ecosystem, and I didn't have coding background myself, so I was just pretty handicapped. So when that opportunity came along, I jumped into it. I quit my job, and then I joined the startup, and then joined as a business guy at a junior mid-level, and then eventually became the CEO of the organization, and then eventually built my own startup within the startup, and then I grew that business to be a very large business in India. We had 25 offices across 25 cities in India. We did really well. And then I exited that startup. I mean, I had worked for 7 years, and working in a startup in India can be very, very taxing. It takes away everything from you. So then I eventually kind of sold my startup to a financial investor and exited successfully. Used that money to buy my family a home, which is my dream. And then I took a sabbatical. My wife had just conceived. And so I told myself that I've worked really, really hard and not given enough time to my family. So I decided to take a sabbatical from work. I just sold a startup. I was feeling okay. So I took a sabbatical, and I was supporting my wife as she was going through her pregnancy. And then a couple of years later, I got a chat on Facebook where I was invited by my ex-boss from India, who was now in Squad Digital. He was the head of Squad Digital in Africa. And he said, "What are you doing on WhatsApp?" Sorry, there was no WhatsApp that time. It was Facebook Messenger. It's like, "Nothing much." He said, "You want to come to Kenya?" I said, "Sure." 2 minutes later, he sent me an offer letter. 2 minutes later, I signed the offer and sent it to him. And 7 days later, I'm in Kenya.
That's
it was just like that,
Yeah, but before we get into Squad Digital, your life in Squad Digital, from your experience of having set up the startup and actually sold it, what are some of the lessons that you learned through that particular experience? And what are some of the lessons you'll actually share to someone aspiring? Because it's everybody entrepreneur's dream actually watching this. Setting up a business, growing it, exiting.
Yeah, so I think I start with this something which is very kind of contextual to kind of Kenya and Africa, which is like this culture of side hustles. So I always talk about it that like when you really, really want to build a successful startup, you have to go all in. You cannot be doing 5 things at the same time. So, I was another interview and I was saying that, do you think that Jeff Bezos has a side hustle, or, Mark Zuckerberg had a side hustle, or Bill Gates had a side hustle? They went all into one business, and that's where they put everything behind it. So I think one of the first lessons that, that I always advise people is that when you're getting into something, no matter if it's a startup or even your job, you need to just go all into one thing and become the very best in that one thing, rather than trying to do 5 things at the same time, because then you just basically stay mediocre at 5 things, right? The second thing is that, and I tell to my own kind of like founders, and I told them when I was starting this company, saying that there will be a time very soon in our future where we will be cursing ourselves, saying, why the hell did we leave our jobs to start this company? And we put all our money behind it, to put everything behind it, and we lost so much. And then we'll be regretting the decision to start, because startup can be a really, really hard journey. I mean, 75% of startups every single year fail. And I think, and I told them that we need to remind ourselves as to why we are doing what we are doing. I think so second lesson for me was the purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because there is going to be a very high probability of failure when you're starting. You already start with the mindset that there's going to be a high probability of failure. And they're going to be really, really tough and challenging times. So what keeps you going through that time is a purpose. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And is that purpose strong enough or worth it for you to give up everything in a single pursuit of that purpose? So, I always ask entrepreneurs, like, why are you doing this? If it is just to make money, then there's a very high chance that you might fail, because there are 100 ways you can make money, right? What makes you stick through and persevere through all the difficult times is the sense of purpose that you have. So for us, it was transforming the way students access higher education in Africa. And I think that purpose for us is so strong because we spoke to thousands of students in schools, and I think we become so attached to our students that that purpose kind of keeps us going when we have difficult times. So what is your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing becomes very important. And the last thing I think I always talk about is discipline. I think discipline is how I describe it as that it's this art of doing things that you hate doing every single day. So there is a certain level of discipline of work required, for you to actually succeed at doing certain things. Because for people who focus on, am I feeling motivated today? Am I feeling excited today? Because 80% of what you do in a startup is not exciting. The initial stages are very exciting because you're thinking of an idea, you're building an idea, you're building things. But then rest of the entire life of a startup is just execution.
True.
It's just boring, mundane, every single day execution. And then discipline becomes very important. Like just showing up every single day, no matter what you're going through, what your personal life is going through, just showing up at work and just doing the boring stuff every single day.
Interesting. And there's something that you were talking about when you're on the break around motivation. You don't believe in motivation, which is actually true. Motivation doesn't work, but maybe you can expound to us in terms of your perspective.
If I may, tell this story, right? I mean, as you can see, I have a big size. I've been very motivated to get myself in a great body shape. Like I love the idea of Manish in the best body shape of his life. I want to be muscular, I want to be lean. I'm very motivated. But yet, and in that last 20 years, I said, I am the same weight today that I'm in the last 20 years. Okay, in those 20 years, I have done hundreds of different types of diets. I've climbed mountains. I've done Mount Kenya. I've done multiple times long or not. I've done.
Oh, you've done Mount Kenya?
Yeah. And I've done multiple half marathons. I've done every Standard Chartered. I've done Lever Marathon. I run a lot. I've gone to the gym. I've cancelled gym memberships. I'm wondering to myself, like I'm so motivated. I'm so motivated to lose weight, and I'm doing so much to lose weight, but I'm still the same weight. And I'm like, why am I the same? Like, why have I not changed? Everyone is motivated to make a lot of money, yet not many people do. Everyone is motivated to be happy, not yet many people are. Everyone is motivated to lose weight, but yet we are not. And the answer was that the problem is that we only focus on motivation. The problem with motivation comes and goes. Today you get up in the morning, you're motivated. Tomorrow you're not motivated. What do you do then? So motivation is ephemeral. Never count on motivation. So what you need is, I was like, why have I not lost? So here's the answer. I have not lost because I don't have a purpose. I don't have a why I want to lose weight. Like I have a happy life, I'm comfortable, I'm married, I have kids. People like me, I have a certain level of respect I command. I help people, I'm transforming the world and I'm really excited about it. I don't have a why I want to lose weight, number one. Number two is courage. Do I have the courage to succeed? I don't have the courage. I love food. I love what I eat. I cannot imagine a life without the kind of food I eat every day.
You surrender to food every day.
Salads every day. No, I cannot. I can't go in saltless, sugarless life. I love my cup of milk tea with tea in the morning. I can't. Yeah. So I don't have the courage to give up things that you see in a startup journey. You have to have the courage to give up. Like I have so many opportunities to travel, to go out with my friends. I want to spend time with my family. I have to have the courage to disappoint a lot of people in my life where I don't get to spend time with them. I have the courage to give up so many things in my life. So I don't have the courage to give up food. And the third thing, I don't have a discipline. So I will go 10 days, 15 days on a streak and I'm running and I'm working out and I'm lifting weights. And then next 10 days I'm doing nothing.
In the burger.
And then I'm a burger. Then like 30 days, nothing. Then I wake up one day, it's like, oh my God, I feel so sloppy. Let me hit the gym again. Then I go gym, then I cancel my membership. So discipline is the art of doing things that you hate doing every single day.
True.
It is not fun. Trust me, to get at 4:35 in the morning when you had a really tough long day at work. Okay? And then get up every day in the morning and go to the street and go to a run and go to a run every single day without failing. It's not fun till the time it is, of course. So there are three things that, which are life lessons for me, which is from the story of, losing weight, but something I've applied to my life and to my business is motivation doesn't work. What you need is purpose, what you need is courage, and what you need is discipline.
That's very interesting. And let us just change the conversation. You also had the opportunity to work with Squad Digital, and I remember it's one of the biggest, what's it called, digital agencies. From your experience working at Squad, what exactly did you learn around advertising, especially in the digital world?
Yeah, so I think one of the things which was very, very critical for us to understand, for me to understand coming from India, is that, Africa is a mobile first generation. Africa kind of skipped the PC generation and straight away moved to mobile. India, we went through desktop and then eventually migrated to mobile. So everything has to be mobile first. That was one of the biggest lessons. I was fortunate enough to work with some of the largest clients. I was handling advertising for Safaricom, for KCB, Equity Bank and all of that, and then EAPL at some point, and Coke. So I think one of the lessons I had from advertising is advertising actually makes you very creative as a thinker. And I think one of the things that kind of worked out well for me is that I had such a wide, diverse array of experiences in my life that as an entrepreneur, it really helps when you have a variety of. So I have operations experience, I have business development, sales experience, I have creative advertising experience. All of these kind of skill sets come together. I really enjoyed my time in advertising, and we've done some of the best campaigns in this country. But I think at some point I realized that what am I doing with my life? Making very rich corporates even richer by selling more SIM cards, more data bundles, more bank accounts. And that's not what I wanted to do with my life, so I decided to quit. But I think like the experience was very enriching because I got to travel across Africa. I understood different cultures. I understood different Nigerian culture and the Kenyan culture. Spent a lot of time in South Africa, Southern African markets. And I think the diversity of experiences I got, the networks that I built, so I think it's all kind of really been helpful.
Interesting. And I think also just to go back, remember before you went on the break, you're taking us through in terms of how you just resigned. And I'm sure primarily now you have the opportunity now to look back that particular decision. When you look that particular decision of just having to resign because you had this idea on paper, would you think, was it a good idea for you? And if you'll redo it again, what exactly were some of the things that you'd advise to anybody looking to transition probably from the employment phase into the entrepreneurship phase?
In Indian mythology, we have this thing that we are taught and we are brought up with from our priests. And they say that it takes a human being 84.4 billion rebirths for you to become a human being. Okay. So in that time you are
What does
born.
it mean?
So like, you have this idea of rebirth, right? You're reborn. Every time you die, you're reborn. So you're reborn as an ant, or as a mosquito, as a rat, as a dog.
It's true.
But for you to get a human, body, it takes you 8.4 billion rebirths for you to get a human body.
8.4 billion
rebirths for you to get a human body, right?
All right.
And I think, okay, this is the only human life I can think of in the near foreseeable future. I think my thing has always been about, I was never comfortable with the idea of mortality. That one day I'm going to die and everything's going to be over. But there was a very interesting idea of immortality is that one has an opportunity of immortalizing themselves by building something that can last the test of time, that can be used and transform lives even after you've gone. So for me, the idea of immortality was that, can I do something and build something that can endure the test of time, that can continue to transform lives even after you've gone? And I think I always question this to myself, like every day, millions of people are born, every day a million of people die. They just come and they go.
True. They come back as mosquitoes. And we smash them and they ate 8.4 billion times.
So my question to myself was like, what is my purpose in life? Like, God has given me this birth. What am I here doing? Am I just here to make money, and provide for my family and buy a nice car? There had to be something more meaningful to our life. So I really deeply think about the meaning of life and our purpose in this world. And I think when I looked at the higher education ecosystem, and I think the way the system was flawed and it was rigged against students, and I think private study abroad agents trying to make money off students, and everyone's trying to kind of misguide students. It's like this is bad. And I'm a father myself, and I think to think about that my kids will go through the same journey one day as well. So I am very driven by kind of transforming, the life in a certain way. You can't transform everything, but you pick a field and you find a way to transform that ecosystem once and for all. And I think that's a life worth living. And I think we talk about it in all the hard times that we go through at Cradle, that think about what we are here doing. And every single day when we meet students and we talk to students and they come to us and they're crying and they say, thanks to you at Cradle, I am in the place where I really want to be. I'm pursuing a career where I'm really passionate about, and I'm pursuing education that I feel really excited about studying, and not just being forced to study. And the fact that we have the ability, that we have the resources to transform those students at scale across millions of students across Africa is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I think I would give up everything in a single pursuit of that opportunity, because we know we can do it. We are blessed, we are able, we have intelligence, we have experiences, we have financial resources from our investors. We have no reason for us not to be able to do that. And the fact that you know that you can do that, and if you still don't do that, is the biggest regret of our lives. So we are very clear, we're going to dedicate the rest of our lives in the pursuit of this transformation that we're doing.
Interesting. And just even before you come to a close, you talked about courage also earlier on, and which is one of the biggest elements one needs to have in terms of making this particular jump going to their purpose. How are you able to get courage to do this? Or maybe what's your advice in regards to courage?
Very interesting. You don't wake up one day with courage. You build up to the courage. Okay, courage. You don't get the courage to do one thing. Like, it was not like I woke up one day and said, I'm going to resign, I'm going to start my own company. You build that courage up.
You remember the cartoon Courage the Cowardly Dog? You watched it in India?
No.
We had it one called Courage the Cowardly Dog, but anyway, I wanted to make a dad joke when you can continue.
So you have to build that courage up, right? Courage is built over a period of time, and you build it through experiences and small steps. And when I was planning to leave, I didn't have the courage to leave, so I got a coach, and the coach said, what's the most difficult thing that you've done in your life? And I said, with my body weight, to climb Mount Kenya was the most difficult thing. You know, I don't know if you climb Mount Kenya, but then you have the final base camp where you start your ascent at 2 o'clock in the morning so that you can reach the summit at 6 o'clock in the morning to see the sunrise. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I cannot possibly do this. Like I had nothing going for me that allowed me to do that. And then my coach asked, so what did you do? So I said, I took like 5 steps. I said, if I still feel I cannot do it or I'm dying, then I'll just go back to the base camp. So I took the first 5 steps. I was okay. Then I took another 5 steps. I was still okay. Another 5 steps, another 5 steps, another 5 steps. At some point, I reached the middle ground between my base camp and the summit, at which point it was stupid to then just go back.
Yeah, you've taken so many steps.
And that's what my coach told me. And she said that take this small steps. So she said, what's the first thing you have to do? Come up with a business idea. Draft it out. Put it on a piece of paper. Okay, then take it to the people that you trust in your life and show it to them and ask them for their feedback. The feedback was great. Then I designed the platform without investing behind technology. Everyone said this is great. Then I asked a few people with money, if I was to leave my job and do this, would you be willing to invest money behind this? And they said, yes, if you leave your job and do this, we'll be putting money behind this. So these are small series of steps that I took to build up to the courage. So courage is not instant. You build up to the courage. So you do take small steps, and eventually you get to the point where you feel confident and you feel that you can do it.
Interesting. Wow. So before we even get to wrap up 10 questions, quick-fire questions.
Oh my, I don't like quick-fire questions. I like to be thoughtful.
I know.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, the same WhatsApp group. All right, so the first question, what's the most stupid thing you've ever done?
Stole money from a beggar.
Tell me about it, that's interesting.
I know. Okay, so just to briefly tell you, I was in a very desperate time of my life. I had quit my university. I started my own business. I borrowed a bit of money from my father. That business was not going anywhere. I was 3 days on the road trying to get ad sales for my magazine. It was a magazine publishing business. And I was hungry. I was getting no success. I had zero money in my pocket. And a little boy, beggar, came to me asking for money. I was so desperate. I took that coin from that bowl and then ran away. And then I had a biscuit and a cup of tea. It's one of those regrets that you'll always regret for the rest of your lives. But yeah, one of the most stupid things I did in my life, yes.
Are you a thinker or a doer?
Doer.
What do you think the meaning of life is?
Leave a legacy.
This is such an interesting question. What's your go-to snack?
My go-to snack is
that makes you not go to the gym.
that makes me not go to the gym. Snickers.
All right. What's your favorite color?
Black.
What scares you?
A life which has no purpose. A life that has no impact.
What's your hobby?
Tennis.
All right. At what age do you want to retire?
Never.
What's been your best age?
Childhood. 15.
And then the final question, would you rather climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Climb a mountain.
Again.
Yeah, again.
Thank you so much, Manish, for your time. I've really learned a lot from this particular conversation. I think we need to do another one. So that was Manish, the CEO of Cradle. Africa that actually gives opportunity to students to be able to find out what exactly they're good at and be able to establish a career that they can actually be able to do, and have done that across Africa, which is such an interesting thing. You can actually check them out on Cradle Africa. And also, as we just wrap up, I'd like to let you know that you're here at the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur, because at the Capital Club is where you can actually get all amenities, and you can actually set up your day here from morning to evening. From the gym in the morning, you can actually have your meetings here, and in the evening, you can actually have your cocktail right here at the Capital Club. My name is Ian Dennis, and this has been the Late Night Business. Until next time, I'll see you right here on KTN Home.
Well,